Yo, it's King of the Ring Boxing back again with a new video. Obviously, I've been caught up with this whole GME, AMC stock hype. Threw a bit of money at AMC and lost half my money. But what can you do? Sometimes you just have to take these risks. Talking of risks, will Errol Spence take the risk versus Terence Crawford and make that fight happen finally? Bob Arum has spoken about this in an interview recently. I'm just going to read it off my phone just to, sort of give you the picture of what he said. Bob Arum on Errol Spence. The only one who seems like he's holding back on it, and maybe because he doesn't feel like he can win the fight, is Errol Spence. That's the truth. Errol Spence is the obstacle in making the fight. Not Al Heyman, not PBC, it's Errol Spence. Spence throws out numbers and percentages. Okay, so very damning statement by Bob Arum. And I'm not going to lie, I'm inclined to agree with Bob Arum because we've had multiple reports about how Spence wants 60-40 versus Crawford. Some reports even saying 70-30 versus Crawford. So it does seem like he is the one who is throwing these numbers out and sort of delaying the fight, or maybe even trying to avoid the fight. I find it baffling considering that in their last fights, even though Errol Spence did fight a higher caliber of opposition as opposed to what Terence Crawford did, Crawford still managed to make more money on the night than Errol Spence. So this A side, Spence thinking he's the A side, is ridiculous. And yeah, just it needs to come to an end. Like, they should just make the fight 50-50 and yeah, just get it on. The only reason to me why Spence is throwing out these numbers is so he can avoid the fight. I'm not necessarily saying that he's scared of Crawford, but think about it like this. Spence did grow up training with Mayweather in the TMT gym, and Mayweather is sort of the guy who made the undefeated aspects of your record have so much importance. And obviously with Spence having that influence on him, obviously training there through his youth, and maybe still trains there, I'm not too sure. I think that might have had an effect on him, and this is Crawford vs Spence is a genuine 50-50 fight, and maybe Spence's sort of self-image might get shattered if he does catch that L, if he does have a 1 against his losses. And I think there might be a bit of fear about that, not of the man, but more fear of losing to the man. Do you see what I'm saying? Obviously Sean Porter's calling out Terence Crawford, and I think if Crawford can make that fight should be made, because I think if he beats Porter in a more convincing fashion than Spence, calls will only get louder and louder for the Spence-Crawford fight, and he won't be, to me anyway, he's not in a position to ask for the lion's share of the pay-per-view money or the percentages of the purse or whatever. But this will sort of discourage him from asking for that 70-30 or 60-40 if he spanks Porter, if he makes it look more convincing than Spence did, because Spence ran it very close with Porter. So I think the smart move for Crawford is to fight Porter next. And obviously, right on time, Spence is talking about fighting Ugas for the vacant WBA title. Which, oh fucking hell, like, it's just typical, isn't it? Because now you can use the excuse that, oh, well, it's still a title fight because Ugas holds that title. And yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. The only person who is avoiding making this fight is Spence, and I don't see why, because it is, when you look at it on paper, it is a 50-50 fight in terms of skills. Because Spence does have the advantages in terms of height, power, and strength. But obviously Crawford, you'd back all the technical sort of characteristics towards. I just don't understand this whole undefeated sort of culture that was created post Mayweather, during Mayweather's career. But think about it, when the greats fought, they had loads of losses on their record, and that didn't deter them. Well, before they got their first loss, that did not deter them from making those fights, which they could lose, and they did lose. So yeah, it's a bit disappointing, but I do think at the end of the year we will get Spence versus Crawford, especially if Crawford spanks Porter and makes it look a lot easier than than Spence did, which I do think will happen. And mark my words, I think Crawford does beat Porter a lot more convincingly than Spence, and I think then that'll force Spence's hand, maybe Al Heyman's hand. I know Arum said that Al Heyman isn't a problem, but maybe it could be, you don't know. But yeah, I think that'll force their hands to make the fight, because he would have got a win over a PBC guy. But yeah, maybe Crawford has to fight Porter and Thurman, but I think he beats both like very convincingly. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that fight will get made? Do you think Spence is right to ask for that split? Is Spence the one ducking? Seems to be Crawford chasing him, so I can't really think of any other explanation. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Obviously, each and every subscription helps this channel. Each comment helps the channel, and every like gets my video to a wider audience. So yeah, just keep helping me out, and I'm forever grateful. It's King of the Ring Boxing. I'm out.